Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another beautiful, fantastic, amazing presentation for the Hypnosis Master Summit. I'm very excited because right now we have with us Michael C. Anthony, and I took a lot of time to chase this guy down to get him to present to the summit. So I'm very excited that we managed to do so. So Michael is what is considered to be by many the best stage hypnotist in the world. He actually has performed around the world for 28 years and is the founder of Stage Hypnosis University. He's a certified NLP practitioner, Ericksonian Hypnosis, and also Master Hypnotist. He's performed on CBS, ABC, NBC, and Fox and other three-letter channels. And he's a member of the world-famous touring group, The Illusionist, where he plays the role of the hypnotist. His incredible presentation will teach you how to build a stage hypnosis show piece by piece. Also, he will be showing a live recorded footage from his successful stage show called Hypnotized Live. So everybody, welcome Michael C. Anthony. Michael, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Eugene. Great to be with you.
Woo!
Here we go. Right. The crowd goes wild.
Yeah. Come on, crowd. Come on. Right, okay. So, Michael, you have been doing hypnosis, stage hypnosis for many years. Did you start directly with stage hypnosis, or did you actually also, or are you also doing the clinical part, or just the stage, or what are you doing?
I'm qualified to do the clinical part, but I don't. Although we sell merchandise at the shows and things like that, only because I don't have time to see people multiple times, and because I'm on the road a lot, and so that I'm very busy doing the shows and the entertainment side of hypnosis, but I am qualified to do so. Yeah.
All right. So when did you start doing this stuff?
Well, it's a strange story. Before hypnosis, before I got into stage hypnosis, my great uncle's name was Joe LaMonica, was also a stage hypnotist, but I never saw him perform. And he was also a magician. And so, when me and my brother were little kids, we'd see our uncle and he'd be pulling coins out of our ears and all this. And we thought, we really got money in there. It was a interesting time. So I always had a few little tricks up my sleeve growing up, but I never had any aspirations to do it full time until I got into it big time when my brother was in the basement one day and I'm coming home and he says, "Michael, come downstairs. This guy's making an airplane disappear." And it was David Copperfield, right? What? And I thought, that's impossible. I mean, that was interesting to me, but what really interested me was these little close-up things that David Copperfield did. So the next day I go to a library, remember those? And I start learning some things and I'm practicing it over time. And I lived in a city up in Canada at the time that was a one-horse town. Everybody's father worked for General Motors. Do your 30 years and out. So I got a job at General Motors. Within 6 weeks, I knew I hated it. I'm just not built for that kind of thing. God bless those who are. But so I wanted out and I got out and strangely enough, I bought a cookie store. And I was selling cookies as a young guy.
Of all things in the world, you got a cookie store.
Yeah, of all things, cookie store owner turns into a stage hypnotist. But someone came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to go see a hypnotist?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, my uncle's into that stuff. So let's go do it." So lo and behold, it's Mike Mandel, right? I didn't know him at the time. And we've been great pals from about 2 years after that, Mike and I. But watching the show, within 20 minutes, I said to myself, this is what I want to do, but I had no idea how. And this is before the internet. There's no training, no nothing. You might be able to find a couple little books and things like that. But I practiced and went to go see other stage hypnotists. And I didn't know, why does this guy say this here? Why does this person say this? Why does this person say this? So I uncovered what I would call a matrix of stage hypnosis shows and put this together and this together and this together. And I had what I thought was a show. And so at one point during all that learning for 2 years, I gave up. I thought, who do you think you are? You can't do this. This is for other people. I gave up on it all. But then for one reason, one day, I remember I was sitting in a rocking chair and it all came back and I'm like, I'm going to go for this, but I still didn't know how. So it's all written out, shows in my head. Somebody comes up to me in the mall where the cookie store was the shopping mall, someone who worked at Radio Shack. They're gone
All
too.
right.
And he says, this guy used to love coming to the cookie store and watch my card tricks because I would perform for the customers.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, you should come to my college. I know the girl that books the shows. And I said, you know the girl that books the shows? Wow. I said, tell her I'm a hypnotist. And he said, you do that stuff? Oh, yeah. Right. But of course, I never had, but I had this show in my head.
Yeah.
So I said, get me a meeting with her. Because I knew if I get a meeting with her and a few of her colleagues, and I just went there with a deck of cards, we'd all have fun together and hopefully she'd book the show. And so that's exactly what happened. I go in there. We have a lot of fun with the deck of cards and all this stuff. And she just comes out and says, how much is a show? I had no idea what to say. But in a quick second, I threw out a number that seemed astronomical at the time. Now my price is dramatically increased from here, but I said $700. And she said, okay, let's do it on January 21st. This was September 29th. I remember because it was my birthday. And she says, and so now I've got 2 months to
get ready for the show.
Oh yeah. I was practicing in my bedroom using a hairbrush as a microphone, going over it over and over and over until I was sick of it, right? The day of the show comes, it was a noontime show, and I'm sick as a dog, but I knew this is my nerves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking of canceling the show, but something inside me said, Mike, this can change your whole life, right? So I went there, silent as anything, just going over it all. Show comes, long story short, there's 240 people in the room.
Nice.
I got a standing ovation. And up until that day, I'd never hypnotized a person in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, I had some cojones on me there. And I don't know if I would do that today. But as a young guy who really wanted something, I went for it. And within 4 years, I was doing over 100 shows a year. And stage hypnosis has been really, really good to me. Not only financially, although finances are important, what it's really given me is freedom to do what I want to do, be the person I want to be, work for who I want to work for, that kind of thing. Because I look back at my General Motors days, and even though I was making decent money, I had zero passion for it. I was dreading on a Sunday evening, dreading going into work on a Monday morning. And I didn't want to deal with that for 30 years. So here I am 28 years later, and what a wild ride it's been.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's wild. So, I want to ask you, like, how do you do, or like, we're just starting with your presentation here, but I'm just eager to, maybe you're going to tell us this along the way. But my question right now is, how do you get to have 100 shows a year? That's like one show every 3.5 days.
It goes in clumps. It goes in clumps. Tours take place. Like I just finished a tour, and I'm up to probably 70 to 75% of what I was before COVID. So it's all still coming back. But when I say 100 shows a year, sometimes I'm doing shows 20 days in a row, right? Boom, 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 boom. So there's different times of the year where I'm very busy. And there's certain times of the year where I'm doing nothing. And that's what I like, right? It's like, oh, I've got the next month off. And my friends are like, you're off for a month? Yeah, I'm also going to be off in February. And they're like, what? So that's one of the benefits. But, on the other side, there is, I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the airport. The shows are fun. As soon as they say, ladies and gentlemen, Michael C. Anthony, I'm there, I'm having a great time. But the downside of it all is having to, get up, wait around, hotels, life on the road. But I know no other way anymore. And that's the way I prefer it.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, you also get to travel, meet people, make connections, make friends, and, see the world. So, you would say there are a lot more, benefits than there are,
Absolutely.
problems.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've seen the world, and I've got friends around the world. And although a lot of my work is in the US, I've been to Australia, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Europe, I've been to Africa. But it's an interesting ride, but a good time, and I have no regrets.
Absolutely. All right. So let's get into the meat and potatoes on how to build a stage hypnosis show for big profit. Okay.
So to build a show, stage hypnosis, I like to break this down into small chunks. Okay. And the first chunk is your opener. And as you mentioned earlier, I'm going to be sending you clips, but it's going to be seamless for those that are watching, of some different elements of my show, such as the opener, such as the induction, different things like that, so the audience can really help follow along what I'm talking about. So the beginning part is an opener. So when they say, ladies and gentlemen, here's Michael C. Anthony, I come out and I don't just start talking about hypnosis right away. Why? Because it's not as entertaining. So I want to entertain them, boom, right out of the gate. So I might come out and do something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Michael C. Anthony. I walk out, I look at the audience, and I don't even say hello. I walk out and I say, you in the green shirt, stand up. And the audience is like, whoa, what's he going to do? And I ask him to think of a number from 1 to 100. And I make a prediction on a pad, and I give it to him, and I say, so tell everybody what number you were thinking of. And he'd say, let's say we were doing it with you, and I would write, Eugen, we'll think of the number, and I give you a look, and I write it down, and I give it to you. And then I say, so tell everybody what number you were thinking of, Eugen, and you might say 41. Say, turn over the pad, read everything I wrote. And it says, Eugen will think of the number 41. Boom, right? So it's entertaining right out of the gate. And that's called mentalism. And I teach mentalism in Stage Hypnosis University. And the reason that that is effective is because you're rolling out the red carpet for yourself. Not only are you doing something the audience isn't familiar with or doesn't understand, they're kind of looking at you, even if it's at an unconscious level, they're looking at you and thinking, well, if he can do that, he can probably hypnotize me too. But first, I need the help of one guy who wants to help me. There's one guy raising his hand for me. In a white shirt. Come on up here, buddy. Give him a big round of applause. Yeah. You're on this side, dude. We got a little less heat on the mic. That'd be great. All right. Your first name is? Ivy. Ivy. See Ivy. Now, Ivy, I've got a pack of cards here. I'm going to have you check these out. Make sure that it's a regular pack of cards, not one of those trick decks. All right. Well done, Ivy. Thank you. I'm going to check them out. Make sure they're good. Make sure there's no marks on the back. Just a pack of cards, right? Yeah. Shuffle them up for us. Let's see if you got any skills. You're doing a good job. All right, the cards are mixed up. Now, Ivy, going to have you choose a card here. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people think I've got this weird ability to make a person choose any card I want them to pick, which I can't do. So, Ivy, when you choose the card, don't let me persuade you at all. All right? You make sure you take the card that you want. Okay, slide one out for us anymore. Imagine it was that stupid. Give me this back. All right? Anyone you want to take that, slide one out. Do not let me see it. Look at it yourself. Memorize it. You got it? Show it around the room. I'm looking the other way. All right, coming back, Ivy. Coming back, coming back. Hey, don't show it to me. Hey, let's put it back in the pack wherever you want to go. Perfect, 33 from the top. It was actually 34. Now, I'm going to mix these cards up, but I want you to mix them up as well. So there's no way I can possibly know what or where the card is. You shuffle them before we started, shuffle them up after. So it's a complete mix. I cannot be keeping track of this. All right, now, Make sure, I have not done anything fast or fancy. Make sure your card is in the deck somewhere. Don't tell me when you see it, but let's make sure it's there. I'll look the other way. Did you see it somewhere? You did, cool. Here's what we'll do. You and I are going to have a race to try to find your selected card, which is somewhere in this pack. You know what it is though, right? Yeah. So you've got the advantage over me. In a second, I'm going to give you the cards. You're going to hold them in your hands like this. When I say go, you're going to race through the cards as quick as you can. I simply want you to try and pull your card out of the pack before I do. That's not it, is it? It would have been awesome. That's all you need to do. I'd go through as fast as you can. As soon as you see your card, just pull it out and say, I got it, beat me to it. While you're going through the cards, while they're in your hands, I'll be pulling cards out too, saying, is this your card? This is I'm going to try and beat you to it. You ready? Excited? Yeah, me too. All right, you're standing right beside me, Ivy, facing the audience. Okay, your hands are straight out like this. You get the cards, you start on the count of 3. Don't start, take the cards. Don't start without me, ready? 1, 2, 3, and go as quick as you possibly can there, Ivy. Give me a chance. All right, is that it right there? No. No, seriously? Okay, how about right here? No? Don't go past it. A lot of people do. Right here, Ivy, I got it. Now keep going through there. Oh, yeah. I got it, Ivy, right here. Seriously, keep going through the deck. Get past it, get nervous. A lot of people get nervous. Ivy. Oh. Give him a huge round of applause. Up high, buddy. All right, have a seat, man. Have a seat. Okay. All right. So that's what an opener looks like. It's just to develop rapport with the audience. There's 3 important elements that I teach. Because believe it or not, the hardest part of a stage hypnosis show has nothing to do with hypnosis. Hypnosis is just the vehicle that you're using to entertain an audience. The 3 most important elements, I call them the pillars of Stage Hypnosis University, is number 1, rapport. Having rapport with your audience, and of course, rapport with your volunteers. The second one is confidence, being confident. Even if you're not confident. When I did that first show, I never hypnotized anybody in my life. Was I confident? Absolutely not. Inside, my stomach is just turning, but I appeared confident. I appeared like I'd done this 1,000 times before. And that's very important because you don't want your audience to see you stumbling over your words. You don't want them to see you appearing nervous because that's going to break rapport and you're going to be in for a very awkward period. But the third one is creativity. This is, don't just do a hypnosis show that everybody else out there is doing. You know, if you look on YouTube, and I'm not saying everybody, but if you look at YouTube, you'll see a lot of the same things happening. So it's important if you really want to be out there and work, if you really want to get agents that want to work with you, your show needs to be unique and your show needs to be fascinating. And you know who understands all this is agents, and you want to be best friends with agents. Agents will see, oh no, this is just another show. He's doing all the same stuff he or she's doing all the same stuff everybody else is. So you want to be able to stand out, and that's where creativity is going to come from. And building routines that are your own, building routines that are completely unique, yet entertaining at the same time.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. I'm taking notes here as we speak because it's very cool stuff. So now a lot of people are going for the doing things differently. And sometimes that actually can backfire because like, I want to do things special. I want to do things different, but they are like, you know, doing it in the wrong way. So they're not doing themselves a service, but a disservice. So what would be like the general rule of thumbs that one needs to pay attention to be sure to make sure that they are having a solid show, that you know, whatever they're going to do is going to be cover the basics and then, you know, add some other confetti stuff on top of it?
Yes. Yeah. You want to stay within certain parameters because the audience did come to see a hypnosis show. There are some people that veer off and are trying to show, like you said, being so unique that they're missing the mark. And I don't like it. My stage hypnosis show, although the routines are very fascinating. Like, for example, we'll skip ahead for a second here. I do a part of my show where I make people think they got pinched on the rear end by the person beside them. Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. That's fun. But what's the kicker that I put on it? I will do something like this. Many hypnotists that are watching, some people may not be familiar with the term, but it's called shifting the rapport with hypnosis. This means giving somebody else the ability to hypnotize somebody else, or at least give a trigger word. So I'll say the word ouch, and all my volunteers jump because they think somebody pinched them on the rear end. And then this is just something I had the idea of one day. I'll walk out to the audience, and I do this when I see a kid in the audience, and say I see a 12-year-old child. I'll say to my volunteers, I go, look at, what's your name? My name's Billy. Hey, everybody, look at Billy. And so they wave to Billy, and I say, close your eyes now. And so my volunteers close their eyes. And I say, later on, anytime you hear me say the word ouch, there's no effect whatsoever. In fact, you'll look at me and wonder, why is he saying the word ouch like this so loud? But later on, anytime Billy says the word ouch, you'll feel the pinch harder than ever, right? Oh. So I start by going, okay, we're going to say the word. I say, ouch. And I watch my volunteers. They just look at me. Every once in a while, there's still a bit of residue hanging on, and you see a little bit of a jump, no big deal. Ouch, ouch. And they're looking at me, what? I run up to the audience and I go, Billy, really loud at the count of 3, say it, 1, 2, 3. Billy says, ouch, everybody jumps. Now, not only have I created something very creative and original, but I gave Billy a memory he'll have for the rest of his life. He'll be telling people when he's 45 years old, I was at a hypnosis show when I was 12. He told me to say the word ouch, and everyone thought that they got pinched in the rear end. Okay, so very, very unique. That you want to add kickers like that to all of your routines to make them your own.
And, then Billy would say, I've hypnotized a bunch of people without even going through a course or to learn.
That's right. That's right. And it's really a big deal to Billy. Often when I do it, the parents will come up to me afterwards and say, oh, thank you. That was such a big deal for him. And I'm like, I'm glad he's here. And I'm glad we were able to have a good time with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Go
ahead.
Well, as we're going through it, like I just described the opener, the next important part, and the opener is one of the vital parts of a stage hypnosis show, because you're going to get that rapport right away. Mm-hmm. Then you're going into the lecture. I call it the lecture. Some people call it a pre-show talk, and that comes from the hypnotherapy world where they call it a pre-talk. I don't like to call it a pre-show talk because the show starts the second they say your name and you're walking out. So I call it a lecture. And a lecture is where you're going to transition from that opener, whether you've done one mentalism effect or like that funny card trick that I showed. And you're going to go into a lecture, which is talking about hypnosis. What hypnosis is, what hypnosis isn't, how they've been hypnotized before, they just don't realize that it's hypnosis. And I'm doing this like a stand-up comedy routine. And it's important to be funny. You don't have to be a 10 out of 10 funny. If you're a comedian, people are sitting there going, okay, make me laugh, funny boy, right? But as a hypnotist, they're not expecting humor. So when you are funny, this is even fun. They weren't expecting this, so this is great. So I'm answering questions. I'm not taking questions from the audience, but I know they've all got the same questions in their head. What is this hypnosis? Who does hypnosis work on? And then I do the most important part of the lecture, which is a story. And I tell a story of something that happened in a previous hypnosis show. And so I'm painting a picture of what's going to be happening on my stage. And I'll say something like, yeah, I was getting to the part of the show where people were getting really relaxed. So people are going onto the floor. Then I tell a really funny story, what this girl did. And I say, and then this person was up doing this. This person was up doing this. Now, there's a very covert reason that I'm doing this. And the covert reason is when I'm saying things like people are going onto the floor, and I just throw that line out, People are going on the floor. This guy's up doing this. This girl's up doing this. Then this is happening. This is happening. The audience is very entertained by the story, but the covert reason behind it is I'm telling my audience, without saying so, I'm telling my audience what I expect of them on the stage. So what I've really done, by the time I ask for the volunteers after this, I have very carefully taken not only 30 volunteers from the audience to the stage, I've taken the best 30 volunteers. Why? Because I've thrown out these things. Oh, this person's gone onto the floor. This person's done this. I'm getting the people that are okay with going onto the floor. I'm getting the people that are okay with forgetting their name. I'm getting the people that are okay with dancing on the stage. Because what you don't want is 30 people coming up onto your stage and saying, oh, I'm not going to do any of that stuff. So I cover it all in the story. I'm letting them know my expectations. So the people that are on my stage are the people that are going to be okay with doing all of that stuff.
Awesome. So is there a number of people that you want to bring on stage when you're doing the show?
I start with 15 chairs on the stage. And I got this from Mike Mandel. 15 chairs on the stage and another row standing behind. Why? Because as I do start to send some people back into the audience, maybe people who it's not working on as well, or people who get up there, they think it's a great idea to be up there. Then they see the big audience and they're like, I'm kind of freaked out by this. So some people I end up sending back. So if people are going back into the audience, people from chairs going back to the audience, the people that are standing take their place. I'll usually do my average show. I start with about 30. Sometimes I get as high as 50, depending on the audience, but that's too many to handle. I want to do the base of the show with about 20, 15 in the chairs, and then 5 more standing behind, something like that. But I don't like to have empty chairs on my stage because it sort of says failure. There was somebody there. Now they're not there anymore. So I don't want that to stick out in my audience's mind. So the chairs are always full.
It's very interesting that you're actually having people who are standing and not on chair, because, like, you know, most of the people who are hearing about the word hypnosis, they automatically associate it with deep relaxation or even sleep. So, you know, I also have never heard of somebody doing stage hypnosis with people standing on stage. Isn't that unsafe?
Yes, and that leads to another question, because and you know, I've trained at UK, I've trained in Vegas, you know, all the big hypnosis conventions, and that's a question that always comes up. You've got people going onto the floor, isn't that unsafe? And I tell the audiences, look, as hypnotists, it's very important that we don't believe the hype. We know what hypnosis is, you and I and other hypnotists. We know that hypnosis isn't really sleep. We know these people aren't passing out or fainting. We know that these people are in control of their bodies. So if I go up to someone, shake their hand from a standing position and say, sleep, they go down. They go down at a rate that is perfect for them. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to do this with a 70-year-old, right? I size the person up. I'm like, okay, that looks like a big athletic guy. Now, keep in mind, if I shook this person's hand and said sleep, because he's not fainting, we know that he's in hypnosis. Let's just say he had a bad knee, okay, an injured knee. He would go down in a way that protects his knee. Let's just say he's got a really bad back. And this has happened before, where I've shaken his hand, I said, sleep. He stays on his feet because he knows he can't go down quickly. So people will take their own bodies into consideration, even in hypnotherapy. Let's say somebody's got a really bad neck and you're telling them to relax like this. They can't do that, so they won't. And it's the same thing with stage. You know, I've often got people laying all over the stage, in front of the chairs, behind the chairs, and it makes for a really great scene. It looks really fun. And but those people all went down at a rate that's perfect for them. 28 years, never anything close to an injury. The worst thing I've ever had was somebody cut their knee, but they cut their knee coming up onto the stage because they were coming quickly and they scuffed their knee. That's all. Yeah.
Luckily, because if they would have done this on when they were going off stage, they were like, "Oh, I was on stage, you hypnotized me, and US, the land of the, I'll sue you."
Yeah. No, never had anything like that. Now, of course, I do, as any stage hypnotist should, and any hypnotist should, any comedian, any juggler, any ventriloquist, whatever it is, I carry insurance, but that's more slip and fall insurance, because you don't want somebody to have some sort of accident and then blame you for it later. I knew a guy years ago who he was using speakers on tripods, which is a big no-no in my show. I will never have the big tripods with the speakers, because somebody was up there dancing, they knocked it over and a speaker fell on a girl's head. She was okay, but he got sued. So safety is the #1 priority in any stage hypnosis show, of course. Anytime you're dealing with someone else, safety is #1.
Do you need to be very funny when you're doing stage shows to be successful in stage shows?
I think so, yes. In my opinion, I look back and I think of any successful stage hypnotist, it's always funny. Do I need to be funny? It's not 100% necessary, but I like to be, because it just makes you a more likable character. I like to play it like a comedian that happens to do stage hypnosis. And that makes it I don't consider myself a comedian, but I've got a sense of humor. Anybody can develop a sense of humor. You sit there and you write jokes. A lot of the things that I say on stage that are very funny are things that I was just driving a car one day, sitting in a chair, and I thought, that's a funny line, right? Or sometimes a volunteer will give you a funny line. Something happens on your stage that you never expected in 100 years. And you say to yourself, how can I make that happen every show? Right? And then you work on it that way. Absolutely. But the beauty of, when I was talking about the lecture, telling the story, making hypnosis sound so fun, so exciting, this is what is going to get you a lot of volunteers on the stage. One of the things I always say at the end of my lecture, and I always hear moaning in the audience, like, whoa, I say, although you'll only be up here for about an hour, you're going to have the benefit of 8 hours sleep. And I hear my eyes go, whoa, because they really want that benefit of 8 hours sleep. Everybody's tired, right? So I say, I don't pick people one at a time. Whoever wants to come on up slowly and carefully. And I get tons of volunteers. I don't know if you've seen any of my videos or any of my photos.
Yeah.
I've got tons of volunteers. I'm never at a loss for volunteers. So once I get them on the stage, I do this little segment that I call setting up a trance. Kind of an idea I had years ago. Sometimes people are a little bit paranoid. Oh, I don't know about this hypnosis stuff. What's it going to feel like? So I do this. You ever been to an ice cream shop and they have those little tiny spoons where you can taste some ice cream?
Right?
Yeah. Well, this is what I do with hypnosis. I call it setting up a trance. So I tell my volunteers, I say, I'm about to set up a trance. When I do this, you won't feel any different. In fact, you might say to yourself, I don't think it's working on me, but it will. It will be. And I'll prove to you a couple months later. So then all I do, all that's to it is this, the setting up a trance section. This is the next chunk, is I have them focus on my hand, or they can focus on a light, whatever. They can focus on anything. Some people swing a pendulum. Some people swing a hypnodisc. It doesn't matter. I have them focus on my hand because I'm too lazy to bring a hypnodisc with me, right? But it doesn't matter. And so I say, everybody focus right here. As you focus right there in the center of my hand, realize you're about to experience hypnosis in a way that you never thought possible. Close your eyes now. And then I just bring them through a couple of quick deep breath exercises. I'll say, let's take a deep breath in together and exhale. And as you do, realize your imagination is about to become unbelievably clear, unbelievably vivid. That everything I described, you'll see with amazing detail, simply because you through your own intelligence can allow your unconscious mind to focus further all the time. As you continue to focus, let's take another deep breath in together and exhale, feeling fine. I'm going to snap you out of this on the count of 3. You won't feel any different, but it's already starting to work. On the count of 3, 1, 2, wide awake on 3 now. So they open their eyes. Now, here's the important part. They open their eyes, they look around, they feel okay. Everybody else feels okay. Hey, maybe this stuff's not so hard after all. So I just give them that little tiny taste before we get into the next segment, which is suggestibility tests. And suggestibility tests could be anything, could be a hand clasp test, could be an eye lock test, can be the book balloon test, whatever you want to do. But it's important as you're doing these tests not to throw them away, as I say, which means don't just do them for the sake of doing them. Don't use them as a utility like you would in a hypnotherapy session. It's a utility. It's for so you can get information as the hypnotist and know if this person is going to be a good hypnotic subject, know if they're going to go into hypnosis as deep as you want them to go. But on stage, remember your number one responsibility, it's called stage hypnosis, not hypnosis stage. The stage element is the most important part. The analogy I like to give is as a stage hypnotist, you're the director of a Broadway play with 30 participants that have never seen the script. So it's your job to take these people, whoever they are, and make a Broadway show out of this that the audience is going to love. So back to the suggestibility test, you must make them entertaining. Mm-hmm. And even though, you know, a hypnotherapist doesn't need to make it entertaining. Nobody's watching. You don't want people laughing. I want my audience laughing all the way through the suggestibility tests. Yeah. And so this is vitally important for you as the entertainer to give that audience entertainment. So as things are happening, little things, okay, say we're doing a book balloon and a person's like this, you know, they're way up, and I'll make little comments and I'll, you know, let's say somebody's way up here or way down here. I'll say, oh, look, we're keeping him up here. We're keeping her up here. So the audience is like, oh, it's important to acknowledge the funny things that you're seeing. And every once in a while, you'll find an audience that is quiet. And this is because they think they're supposed to be quiet at the beginning. They don't understand. They can be laughing and cheering. They're not going to snap these people out of a trance. So the very subtle way that I don't tell my audience, hey, it's okay to laugh. I will start to giggle at different things that I see funny. So if I got someone in a hand class session, they're like this, I'll have the mic in my hand. Here's a hairbrush right here, right? And I'll be like, I'm laughing myself, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so this is giving the audience permission to laugh. So what I would recommend anybody who is considering putting a stage hypnosis show together to realize it needs to be funny all the way through. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Every element. So just find little things and make little comments on certain things that you see. And this is going to elevate your show to a whole new place. Don't just use them selfishly for yourself. Remember, this is for the audience. So make every bit of it fun. It's going like this the whole time.
Beautiful, beautiful. How long does it take from the moment you walk on stage, or let's say from the moment when people come on stage until you would say, okay, now they are ready to be, you know, entertained? Like, you know, you say, okay, come on over and have this beautiful experience, whatever you tell them. Then what is the time, like the minimum or the maximum that you need to put in to get people into the proper set of trance where you can actually get them to do stuff? Get them to do the post-hypnotic funny suggestions things. I'm going to say, first of all, I don't rush it. And the reason is because it's not all about the funny routines at the end, although that's huge.
the dancing, the amnesia, whatever it is that you're doing on stage. Yes, those things are amazing, but the suggestibility tests are also funny, and the induction is hysterical. So I'm going to say, to answer that question, I'm going to say, if I'm doing a book balloon test, okay, I've got my audience on stage, I've settled them down, I've moved a couple people around. I don't want them sitting beside their close friends, right? Because they'll be distracted by them.
Yeah.
So once I get into setting up a trance, everybody's undivided attention right here in my hand. Focus right there. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, feeling fine. We'll do that together again. Inhale. And exhale. As you focus right there in the center of my hand, realize much of what I'm about to say won't necessarily make sense to you consciously. But at an unconscious level, it'll make perfect sense. I'll be speaking what's known as a hypnotic language pattern. Your brain will take small segments of what I say and all on its own dissect it in a way that's completely normal, appropriate for you, and reassemble it back into a trance. So wherever we go, whatever we do, that's perfectly fine. I'd like everybody voluntarily close your eyes now. This is the most important part for you right now. Here's where you need to make the conscious effort, the conscious ability to shut out all the distractions around you, because as you do, realize in a moment, your imagination is going to be unbelievably clear and unbelievably vivid. And as I described, you'll see with amazing detail, simply because you, through your own intelligence, can allow your unconscious mind to focus further all the time. When I start things, they work fast, they work strong, until you hear me say the word erase. Anytime you hear me say the word erase, whatever was happening stops instantaneously until I started again. When I started again, it was even faster than it did the step before. I'm going to snap everybody to this on the count of 3. Won't feel any different. It's already starting to work. I'm about to show you that. You can open your eyes on the count of 3. 1, 2. Open your eyes on 3. Now. Hello. Welcome back. Should feel exactly the same. Let me show you that it's actually starting to happen. Okay. I don't know how long that was, but I would guess not much longer than a minute in my head.
Yeah.
Watch it be longer. Watch it be way. I don't think it is, but it's entertaining. And then a book balloon is probably about 3 minutes. A hand clasp test is probably about 2 minutes, maybe 3. And my induction, because the induction is the next segment in building a show, the induction, you can do an induction really fast. In fact, I've done them so fast. I've done showcases for big organizations and things like that, where they say, okay, you've got 20 minutes for the whole thing. I'm like, oof,
wow.
that's fast. So I make my induction. I remember doing it once. It was so fast. I thought it was so brilliant. These people were on the floor so fast, and I was getting catalepsy, all this stuff so fast. But you know what? It kind of went over the head of the audience, because they didn't get to enjoy enough of the process in other places of the world. So it's important to let them see the process. You know, I do instant inductions later on in my show, but some people think it's all about speed. It's not. It's about entertainment. So I would far rather than just walk up to somebody, and you can do this, walk up to somebody on your stage that you haven't hypnotized yet. Okay, you know, look at me, shake my hand, sleep, boom, person goes down. Okay, looks fantastic. But I would rather milk 6 or 7 minutes out of an induction and have humor, funny things all over the place with 30 people, as opposed to the instant induction. Now, I'll do an instant induction later on in the show. But the induction is a piece of art, in my opinion. Whereas you are kind of, and recently I've sort of changed how I do an induction, physically anyway. I used to always do my induction standing in front of my volunteers, you know, the audience is behind me, and focus here, and then it starts to happen, and I walk around and things like that. But fairly recently, in the last couple of years, I don't know why I started doing this. I just thought it might look interesting. And that is to take a stool. They give me a stool in the theater. I put it
Yeah.
right beside the volunteers. So, and you'll see this in my induction clip that we share shortly, where I'm sitting in the chair right to the right-hand side of, so here's the audience is out here. My volunteers are here. I sit in a chair right here and I just talk. And so the impression I'm trying to give is there's no magic here. This is just a guy, me. This is just a guy who sits there and talks, and people start flopping on the floor. And I really like the aesthetics of it all. And so I do it that way probably 50% of the time. Every once in a while, I'll be there and I forget to ask for a stool. And I'm like, oh, I don't have a stool. I guess I'm not doing the stool tonight. And so, but that induction, you know, and I'm a student of the Milton model, Milton Erickson. And I like to use, you know, tag questions, double binds, analog marks, embedded commands, mind reading statements, all this stuff in my induction. And here's the reason why. Years ago, people would come up to me after a show and they say, oh, that was really fun. That was great. But it looked like you were just telling the people what to do, and they did it. And I didn't like that. I was giving direct suggestion back in those days.
Yeah.
And so once I got into Erickson and the Milton model, I know now that, as you know, with Milton Erickson, you're talking a bit different. Your pacing is a little bit off. Some words don't even make sense. You're using confusion techniques. And so now what my audience says to me after a show, and this is what I love, it adds to the mystery of hypnosis, especially in the entertainment world. And that is, they'll come up and they'll say, I don't know what you were doing, but I could tell you were doing something, right? And that's what I like. That's what I like. Good. Yeah. Now the mystery is there. And it's very important. Any stage hypnotist, if you want to be paid real money, it's very interesting to sell hypnosis properly. Here's my goal. I know, let's say I'm doing a show for 1,000 people. I know that probably 800 of them are there because, oh, we bought a ticket. I don't know what this is about. I came because my friend asked me to come, or somehow we won free tickets on the radio, whatever it is, right? And they're thinking, I don't really know what to expect here. Or they're doubters. I don't believe in this hypnosis. So my goal is to get them after the show to walk out and going, I didn't believe coming in, but I cannot deny what I just saw. And that's where art comes into hypnosis and the selling of hypnosis. You need to sell it in such a way that the people are buying into it, and then it's so much more entertaining. As a hypnotherapist, you don't have to sell anything. You've got it's one-on-one, right? So as long as you're getting your results, that's all that matters. But I've got an audience of 1,000 people, and they need to walk out of there going, that was amazing, right? I don't want them walking out going, I feel the same way I felt when I came in. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
Give them a huge round of applause. Okay. Now, if you're standing, your hands are down at your sides. As we move on to the next level. Everybody, see the light up there, the one right in the middle? Stare at it. Because as you stare at it, realize you're about to be hypnotized very quickly, simply because you already are. We set that trance up very slowly, very subtly. Now, we're going to unleash it. We're going to allow it to go through different parts of your unconscious mind as you focus further all the time. Like everybody, voluntarily, close your eyes now. And listening to this with an uncanny ability to focus only on the sound of my voice, because as you do, or like everybody, start to get tired right now. Start to get extremely relaxed and extremely tired as every drop of stress, anxiety, and pressure can disappear. As you allow yourself to get tired, and as you allow yourself to have the new discovery that you are able to be as relaxed as you can possibly be. Strange thing is this, if anybody around you touches you, if anybody around you moves, that's okay. Use that to access a previous trance state, one in which your unconscious mind already fully comprehends. So if you're standing, listening to this, everybody in fact, I would like everybody to begin to pay particular attention to the muscles in the back of your neck. In a moment, those muscles will be so much more relaxed than they were just a moment ago. Won't it be worth holding your head up in the position that it's in, or was in? Your head will never snap backward, heavily will always go forward. Chin towards your chest, that's on the count of 3. You're ready, focus on it. 1, 2, and 3. Allow your neck to relax. That's right, because as it does, and as the clarity of your experience continues to become even more enhanced than it was just a moment ago, and as this thing we call hypnosis works its way, in fact, wraps its way around your unconscious mind, you can continue to go further. Because as you go further, you already know what that feels like, don't you? This can happen in 5 seconds, maybe 10, or for most of you, it happens now. So I would like everybody to allow yourself to change your position as much as necessary and go and do it further. That's right, deeper again. Some of you I will be sending back into the audience. That's right, allow yourself to focus. You're free to go. Everybody else, focus. The mere passing of time causes this trance to become even more enhanced than it was just a moment ago.
Okay. And that's the induction. And so you were asking me a question, Eugene. Go ahead.
Yeah. So because I was wondering, like, when it's like, do you have before you start a show, do you like think of yourself, oh, so I'm doing this show here in this setting, so I should, or I might do this skit and this skit and this thing and the other? So
Yep.
do you like kind of think of those beforehand? Or do you kind of like wing it every time you do it?
No, I kind of know based on the market I'm in. Like, let's say I'm at a college. Now, I should throw out there, my show's clean. I don't do an R-rated show or any of that. The problem with that is, if you're going to do that, good luck getting those high-paying corporate shows, those high-paying college shows. In America, they won't go for the dirty stuff. Nightclubs all day long. But if you want to get out of the nightclubs, the problem with the internet is if you get seen on YouTube doing this dirty show, good luck getting $10,000 to $15,000 for a high-end corporate show. Because if the entertainment director says, oh, let's consider Michael C. Anthony, let's go on YouTube and look at him, and they see me doing a seedy show at a nightclub, they say, oh no, we got to stay a million miles away from that, so we can't hire him. Let's look at the next person. And I know people that have fallen into that trap, that oh no, I can't do a corporate gig, I can't do this kind of gig. But to answer your question, depending on the market, I know that if I'm playing Disney Cruise Lines, for example, they've got a rule: can't put people on the floor, and that's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Don't do it. I've got complete control whether they go on the floor or not. That's all depending on the verbiage that's coming out of my mouth. I tell them not to go onto the floor, to stay safe in their chair or to stay standing, never go on the floor for any reason, no matter how relaxed they are. So, but in a college and in a corporate show, I know I'm probably not going to do certain routines that are requiring too much physical activity. Here's the funny thing about corporate shows. If I'm doing let's go to college show. If I'm doing a college show and I'm doing the part of my show that I call the head drop, and that's the beginning of the induction. I say, that's right. In the count of 3, your head will drop, chin toward your chest, never go back, always forward. That's in the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3. Boom. Okay. At a college or university, okay, that's good. That's going to get some laughs, some chuckles. But when you get this at a corporate event, they go insane with laughter. And then you bring them so they're all the way slouched over. They're going crazy. Here's what I consider a successful corporate show, and it happens all the time. Let's say it's a dinner setting. So they've all eaten dinner before my show. If during my induction, once I'm to the point where people are getting relaxed, maybe going onto the floor, if I choose to do that for a corporate show, if the people in the back leave their chairs and are swarming around the stage, that's when I know I'm killing it. Right. But keep in mind, if I'm doing a corporate show, I keep in the back of my mind, okay, maybe it's a black tie event. Ladies are wearing nice evening gowns. Guys are wearing tuxedos. I'm not going to put them on the floor. Maybe there are some guys I will. Never would I, with a lady with a very expensive dress, I don't want her ripping it. I don't want, to her to be laying at a particular angle where people can see up the dress. I'm not going to gamble any of that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to play it very safe. So yes, depending on the market that I'm playing, I decide either what material I'm going to do or how I'm going to set up a routine to make it safer, not only for safety purposes, but also I don't want anybody being embarrassed after the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So running a show like this, I'm guessing you've done, thousands upon thousands of shows in your entire career.
Yeah.
What would you say was the most challenging crowd, and what would you say is the best crowd to work with?
Challenging, I'm going to say, is small shows. For example, I just did a show in 2 days ago in Texas. It was a smaller show for me. And
when you mean smaller, you mean like which number? What would it mean?
Small is under 100. Small is under 50. So I only had 40 people at my show, and here's why. I don't know why people do this. And when I got there, they said, yeah, I don't know why they booked you for this. This is next week is Thanksgiving. A lot of students are already off campus. This was a campus show. And I'm like, okay. And another thing that's not helping is if you're in a very, if they have to wear masks right now. You don't want to sit and wear masks for an hour and a half. So attendance is lower. And I've got friends that are magicians and these things that are doing theaters. Their attendances are down too, just because people don't want to wear a mask if masks are compulsory. On the other side, my largest show was 4,000, and it's a great show. When shows are that big, what I prefer is they have the IMAGs up, which is the big screens on the side, the image magnification screens, so people can really see what's going on in the show, even if you're in the back row. Yeah. So I just booked a show. This is an interesting side note. I just booked a show. My agent booked the show. It's in January. And I've done this show before. Interesting story. We're getting ready to do the show. And this is also university. And someone came up to me before the show and said, hey, Michael, I'm going to be signing the show. I said, what? I'm going to be signing the show for the hearing impaired. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then she said, where do you want me to stand? I said, just stand at the front of the stage. And I said, will the hearing impaired people be like within your view? She said, yeah, we'll put them in this section here. What I didn't know is that there was a school for the hearing impaired within this university, right? And so there were probably hearing impaired. There might have been 50 or 60 that they designated this so they can see the signer. I just warned her, hey, sometimes I talk fast. You're going to be like, woo, doing all your stuff, right? And she said, that's no problem. I'll keep up. I said, okay, good. 5 minutes later, somebody comes up to me and says, hey, Michael, my name is Lisa. I'll be signing the show. I said, yeah, but we got a girl over there. She said she's signing the show. She said, no, I'll be signing the show for the volunteers. I said, what? Right? And so I'm thinking to myself, what is hypnosis? You react to hypnosis in a way that you react to communication. So could somebody be hypnotized through sign language, right? I said, I'm up for the test, right? And so I said, okay. I said, do we know if they're going to be volunteering? She said, well, I know some that said they do look forward to volunteering for the shows. I said, okay, let's roll. This will be interesting for me. And it's fun because I know I'm playing this show again in January. And so I'm giving the instructions for the show. I've got the volunteers up there. I don't know which ones are hearing impaired. And so I said, instructions. I understand that there's some hearing impaired people on the stage. If you're hearing impaired, when I tell you to either focus on my hand or when I tell you to close your eyes, only focus on the signer. Only focus on the signer. And so once I was saying focus on my hand, now I can tell which ones are hearing impaired because they're looking over here, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm getting into the induction and I said, when you get relaxed, just keep your eyes open and focus on the signer. So I'm telling people, that's right. Allow yourself to go even deeper. Find a far more comfortable position on the floor now. The people who could hear me were just going on the floor normally, but those that were hearing impaired, they're watching the signer just going like this. And they're keeping their eyes open the whole time.
Not only eyes open, but fixation on the signer.
It was incredible. It was incredible. So later on, everything happened the exact same way that it would happen for those that were hearing me. So, I mean, lesson learned for me that night. I'm like, wow, you can hypnotize somebody through sign language. It was quite incredible.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is fantastic. That is, that is a story to tell for sure.
Yeah. Another funny thing, and you can bleep this out if you need to, but this is what happened. So I do a point in my show where I'll make a guy dance with a broom. He believes it's a beautiful girl, right? And so I've done it thousands of times. And so I'm doing it, where was I? I was in California. And so I'm to the point of the show, I've got this guy laid out on the floor. I've got the broom out and I say, when you awaken, you're going to see me standing beside this beautiful girl. She's fantastic. You won't be able to resist coming up and asking me if you can dance with her. Now that's when the music starts in the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So the guy gets up, looks at the girl like they do every time, comes over to me, says, can I dance with her? I'm like, yeah, sure. So he's dancing with the broom. Okay. And, they get real tight and all this stuff. But, and that's happened so many times. And sometimes they get a bit grabby. Sometimes they kiss the broom, right? But I see a girl on my stage. She was one of the people standing. I see her out of my peripherals and she's walking around. I didn't know that she was the girlfriend of this guy.
Ah, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
So she's walking over and I'm like, what's happening here? She walks over, grabs the broom, throws it on the ground and says, whore. Right. I couldn't believe it.
God.
Right. Just in shock. So she's seeing the same thing as everybody else. I've done the broom thing so many times. It's one of my trademark stapled pieces.
Yeah.
And people have come up to me afterwards and they say, some people will say, they had the perfect hallucination. I saw a beautiful girl. Some people say, I knew it was a broom, but there was an attraction. I had to dance with it.
Man.
So, the saying in hypnosis isn't what you think it is. It's what you think it is. Right. So if
you have to say that again. Say that sentence one more time.
Yeah. Hypnosis isn't what you think it is. It's what you think it is. Right. So it's very powerful, and it says so much because people react in different ways. And that's what makes stage hypnosis so unique. Different routines that you put in. You don't want everybody acting the exact same way at the exact same time. If I did an induction and I tell everybody, hey, allow yourself to get relaxed. That's right. I want you to imagine a position far more comfortable than the one that you're in right now. And as you do, allow yourself to imagine the position. We're going to find it on the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3. I don't want everybody going down at the exact same time at the exact same rate. I want it to look very haphazard because everybody's in their own head. Don't just listen to me. Do it at a time that's perfect for you. And that, believe it or not, adds believability to stage hypnosis.
That is not all in sync, basically. That's what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Oh, Michael, so much information. I'm so excited. I can't wait to, dig deeper into this. However, time is running out, and we would have to stop this presentation here, sadly, because I really enjoyed it. It was very, very entertaining.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So please tell us, where can people get in touch with you? How can they, follow you, learn from you, come to your classes, courses, or whatever?
My main program is called Stage Hypnosis University, stagehypnosisuniversity.com. You can contact us there. And that is both a digital online work at your own pace training program, and it's also a one-on-one mentorship with me. I've got students from around the world that are both learning and performing stage hypnosis shows. And I've got students that knew nothing about hypnosis. And within my record period is in 8 weeks, someone on stage in 8 weeks. Boy, did we have to work hard to make that happen. But, the average is about 3 months till someone is ready to start marketing a show. But we work together, we build the show, and we build the career together. And it's about not just doing the show, it's about doing it in a way that's not only going to give you freedom, but it's going to bring real income. I tell my students, we're not going to lowball prices here. You're going to do this in such a way where you're really getting paid. And I've got a smaller beginner program, that is built and designed for somebody who may not be 1,000% sure whether they want to dive into this part-time or full-time. And that is the hypnosisblueprint.com. That's kind of the beginner program where you learn a lot. And there's also connections on there where we connect one-on-one, and I help you build it through that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So everyone, you know where to find Michael, his website, and also his email address, which you just mentioned. Now, we will take a quick break and we'll see you after the break. But remember, if you will, share with us your main ideas, your main point that you got from this presentation. Share them with us in the Facebook group so we can all learn from each other and from each other's notes. And like I said, we'll take a quick break. We'll see you after the break, or we'll see you in the next day. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.